second. And we're live. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Where are you guys from? Who are you? So many great van hackers here with us. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Ilya. I'm from VanHack, and today I'm really excited to be joined by Camilo. He's a DevOps engineer from Colombia, and he has recently relocated to Vancouver, Canada during the COVID-19 pandemic. And he's going to tell us all about the story of how he did that, how he got hired, and now how he's working here. But before we get into that, can you guys hear us? Let's do a quick sound check.
Give us a ping.
Yeah, exactly. So if you guys can see in the chat, I think it's on this side for you. If you can just say yes or okay or something like it works, or I don't know. Yes, okay, eyes there. Yes, Samuel. Okay, awesome. Hey, Louise, Wesley, Ella. Oh, wow, that's a lot of yeses. Okay, great. All right, let's get into it. So first off, Camilo, thank you so much for joining us here. We're going to get right into it. We have a lot to cover. And guys, Camilo's going to have to leave about 10 minutes early because he has to get to his job. But we have a lot of really exciting questions here. So great. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And stick with us. We're going to go through a lot of great information. Camilo, first question. Who are you? Where are you from? Give us a bit of your background, maybe your VanHack pitch, or a little more.
Sure. Cool. So I'm from Colombia. I'm from Bogota, Colombia. I'm 31 years old, and I'm a systems and computing engineer. And also I did a master's degree in IT architecture. So I've been working most of the time with vendors. My last job was in IBM, and right now I'm working as a DevOps engineer as well. So I've been pretty much working all the time with integrations, with middleware, with the cloud. So that's a little bit of my background right now.
Awesome. So what kind of technology do you work with, like AWS or?
Yeah, I mean, mainly right now, focusing on AWS and Azure. And most of the time I've been working with Azure, and mainly not only the cloud, but also thinking about automation. So I've been working with tools like Terraform and Ansible, which are one of the tools that are out there to start doing automation and infrastructure as code. So yeah, those are the ones.
Nice. Those are really highly skilled, highly in demand skills. So everyone listening to this, if you're like in DevOps, definitely learn Ansible, Terraform. We're getting a lot of questions about those.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sweet. So how did this whole journey start, Camilo? You recently moved to Vancouver about a month ago, or what made you decide to make that happen? When did you decide, hey, you know what, I'm living in Bogota, but now I want to be in another country or another city? What was that like, that moment?
Yeah, well, I had that idea for a couple of years back, but not that I had the right steps to make it true, to make it that happen. So, but I mean, like, I was sometimes having a look on multiple web pages searching for job opportunities, but it's pretty hard to get a job from being outside offshore, being outside of the country.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, like, I lived for a couple of years in Australia and New Zealand, so I always wanted to kind of move outside and kind of start a new life in another country. And Canada, it's really open with migration, so it was one of the best opportunities to come here to this country. So yeah, that's how it started. Yeah.
Nice, awesome. Just quickly, if anyone has any sound issues, refresh. I guess you can't hear me if I'm saying that, but yeah. And also, you guys, I saw a lot of questions in the chat. We'll have questions in maybe about 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But I really want to hear Camilo's story. So thank you, everyone, for chatting. Questions like Amupam, I see your question about age. We're going to be answering those soon. Let me just here, refresh if you can't hear. Okay, cool. So you decided to come to Canada. good choice. It worked. But and you mentioned something really really important is like what it was hard for you to find a job. So how did you end up finding the job? Like I know it was through VanHack, right? But how did you end up finding VanHack, and what was that
Yeah,
process? And another thing that's
exactly.
important to mention is the visa, right? Because you have your permanent residency. So what did you do first? Did you first go through the express entry, go do your IELTS and validate all your documents, and then find
Yeah.
VanHack, or was it like in parallel? Tell me about that process.
Sure. So in terms of the process, yeah, I had to start doing my express entry beforehand. So mainly as IT guys, we have some good chances to kind of get better opportunities because that's a highly demanded profession here. So what I did, as you said, you have to have an English IELTS score,
Hmm.
which could be out of, I don't know, 7 or 7.5 above. You can
Yeah.
have one of those. And also, it's really worthwhile if you have a master degree or a doctor or a PhD, sorry. So, in my case, I had the master degree, so that was another good point. But apart from that, I believe I mean, like right now, and when I started my process, it was fairly kind of easy to just go through the process because once you have those like you meet those criteria like
Mm.
the age, the IELTS score, and also the background. For example, you have years of experience in the IT field,
Hmm.
and in your studies, your educational status, it would be like very straightforward to just kind of go through all the process. But apart from that, before I was doing the express entry, I also had the chance to apply to permission for work as well. So, I mean, there are multiple possibilities of coming to Canada right now. It's not just that you need express entry to come. You can also apply to other visas that also let you study work here.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was the process for me. And after that, as I said, I kind of flicked through multiple pages looking for jobs. But being offshore is kind of hard. You may get some opportunities, but that's the difference that Van Hacks does. That you guys really lead the way. Yeah, instead of just applying to a homepage and like out of serendipity, out of luck, you get a
Hmm.
call or something. Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, no, I mean that's it's good to hear you say it because that's what we try to do. So yeah, we just for everyone on the webinar, I'm guessing you already know this, but VanHack, all the jobs on VanHack sponsor work permit or work visa or remote, but most of them are jobs that are sponsoring. Now we're having a cool
Yeah,
combination of remote and relocation because I mean Camilo moved to Canada, but he's still working remotely. I'm guessing
yeah,
for
I do.
yeah,
I
yeah,
do. I do. Yeah,
cool,
exactly. That
yeah.
was like
Hmm.
that was how. Yeah. So yeah, just to add a little bit more.
Yeah, keep going.
I,
This is great.
as you said, I mean, what I believe is the most important part here, and actually we will go through how was the selection process, but I wanted to mention this before, and it is that I know there are a lot of peers out there that really have really high technical skills. So I believe that's the most important part. I mean, you guys have a lot of job offers in VanHack from multiple sponsored companies, right? So the most important thing is that you actually show off your skills. Yeah. Once you do that, it doesn't matter if you are in Argentina or wherever you are. If
Yeah.
you really impress them, it's gonna be really a high opportunity to get a job offer. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, guys, I'm seeing a lot of questions in the chat here about how do I start? What's the first step? How do we go through? The first step is to sign up to VanHack and create a free account and start watching the videos. We have a lot of videos, courses about how to get hired. So watch those videos, and they'll explain how things are. Um, and we'll get again to more in-depth questions soon, guys. So, Camila, you've created you got your PR or you went through your PR process, and then tell me more about like how did you find out about VanHack? What made you want to sign up? And then let's talk about how the interview process went. But yeah, so
Sure.
when
Sure.
when when did you find out about us?
So yeah, I found out even before I got my PR. It was like, I don't know, like 2 years back,
Hmm.
more or less, and it was because one of my friends in Colombia, he came to Canada, but just on a tourist visa, just to kind of get to know the country. He was looking for some opportunities to come here,
Hmm.
but he didn't have a PR or nothing like that. But somebody here in Canada gave him the like, told him, oh look, this is a cool homepage that you can look through, but it is not just a homepage. Of course, then I found out. But yeah, I mean, like, he gave me the chance to check that homepage with him, and he kind of walked me through all the options, you know, how I need to open my register and kind of fill my profile, do the English verification, and then some coding verification, which is also so cool. So
Yeah.
after doing that, I mean, the reason why I got into VanHack was because of a friend. So yeah, actually, when you guys give feedback to your other friends, it's just like it goes viral. I mean, yeah, everybody
Nice.
starts knowing about it. So that
Yeah.
was the way I found out about VanHack. And about the process, well, um, I opened my account, I don't know, like a year back or something like that, but I wasn't using it that much because I wasn't sure when was the right time to come to Canada.
Hmm.
And we never knew. It was crazy because at that time there was not COVID-19, so I
Hmm.
could have come anytime with no worry at all. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's the way it went. But yeah, I mean, I opened it and I kind of applied to a couple of jobs, but I didn't do my English verification or my code verification. So after I got serious with VanHack, of course I had to do those two things, which I give an advice and recommendation to all you guys, that if you pick one of the I mean the development languages that you are good at, and you go through the coding verification, that would be like that helps.
Hmm.
And also, after that, I started applying to a couple of jobs. But that this is the fun part, and it is, I didn't get a job or job interviews from the jobs that I applied,
Hmm.
but rather VanHack actually reached out to me and said, "Oh, hey, I found out a better match for you.
Hmm.
There's a job here that look has these skills and these abilities, so I believe this is better for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna apply for you." And they kind of were the bridge with the client, with the company. So as I said, it's funny because I picked ones, but the ones that finally I got an interview from, which were a couple, were
Mhm.
the ones that they gave me an advice. Yeah, so that's cool.
Nice. That's great, and I think that's probably because you had a very complete VanHack profile, right? You talked about that before, doing the coding test, taking the English verification. So everyone here, guys, like make sure your VanHack profile is filled out, as well as make sure your English you do a quick like 10-15 minute English verification and do the coding tests. I think that's really a important point to highlight. Cool. So then we reached out to you and said, hey, there's these jobs. Let's talk about
Yeah,
the actual interview process then, because I think that'd be really exciting to hear. Like, how did you do the interview process, and then we'll get to the next part, which is the fun part, the relocation during COVID.
sure,
So you
sure,
started
man.
the interview process like in December or January. When did it all begin?
Yeah, the first one that I got an interview from, or the selection process, was about February, like at the end of February, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think at mid February. So yeah, as I said, they reached out to me and they said that there were a couple of jobs that match my profile. So they applied for me even. But then they reach out again to tell me that I need actually some interview rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to meet with a couple of VanHack tech leads. So we kind of did this kind of meeting
Mm-hmm.
call,
Mm-hmm.
and we practiced how to go through every. question that I may face on the interview. Like, for example, I have to really get to know good about the company, what's the company about, what's their business and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
also be really sure about what I put up in my profile and in my CV, in my curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I have to, of course, have expertise in. So they also ask me questions about technical things. So it's not just about soft skills, but also they deep a little bit deep into your technical skills as well. So after you're doing those rehearsals, I actually you kind of get more prepared to the real one. So that was one thing. And after the
Yeah.
selection and about the selection process, I got to be in two interviews, two real ones,
Mm.
in two different jobs. The first one, I got through two steps of the selection process. So of course here everything is kind of standardized. So in the case of the job that I got, I had to go through three, let's call it quality gates, or three gates that I have to pass.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, of course, was with HR. So I had an interview with the HR um, manager, and of course he walked through all my experience and also the reason why I wanted to move to Canada and stuff. And then the two other gates, the two other interviews were fully technical. So you really kind of get an hour and an hour and
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes just talking about all your experience. And they start doing questions that, of course, are challenging. But I mean, if we all have been working in IT, there's a way that you, of course, can get to solve it.
Mm-hmm.
But all the questions that they do, of course, are really related to what you put up in your CV and what your experience is about. So that's what I rehearsed with VanHack, and when I go to those interviews, they were challenging, but I got the opportunity to kind of show what I knew and how can I help them. So that's another thing that I actually wanted to say,
Mm-hmm.
and I found interesting. And it was at the end, of course, they always kind of leave a little bit of time to for me to ask questions back to them.
Yes.
You normally never know what to ask or what to I mean, you think, oh, should I ask about salary or should I ask about this and that? But
Mm-hmm.
in my case, what I did was I kind of gave them a little bit of what they can get from me if they hire me.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I know apart from the skills that you are requiring, I have also these other skills. So I
Mm-hmm.
asked them, do you need this kind of skill, leadership, or will we have a team that is made of, I don't know, 10 people or 13 people? Because they sometimes don't get to the actual job matters.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of go walk through all your skills, but they kind of don't say right away, oh, you're going to be in a team of 15 people and they will be located globally in multiple parts of the world and stuff. But
Yeah.
if you can dive deep even more, you can be very inquisitive. You can ask them more about, like, if you're actually getting jobs. So for me, it worked. It was really
Mm-hmm.
good because we could have a little more conversation about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's another recommendation for me.
That's nice. That's
From
a
me.
that's a really good point. That last one about always having something to ask or to say at the end, because they're always going to ask during the interview, do you have any questions for us? And you need to have either good questions or like well, yeah, good questions. But that I like how you connected those questions to your skills and really kind of use that to your advantage.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, nice. I saw a question here about this webinar. Yeah, guys, this will be recorded and on the VanHack YouTube channel. So just go to youtube.com/VanHack sometime later today. We'll probably share it out on an email and on Slack. So then, okay, you get the job. How did you feel when you got that email with the job offer? Well, what was that? Bring me back to that moment of you're driving in.
Yeah, it was. It
Yeah.
wasn't. It wasn't actually an email. It was a call from
Okay.
you guys. So yeah, one of you guys actually, he's Gil. He called me and he
Yeah.
said, "Oh man, have good news for you. You you got passed by the interview, so congratulations.
Uh-huh.
And of course, he told me about all the benefits, what was the salary and stuff, and when did I actually need to start working. But of course, it was cool to hear about it.
Hmm.
And yeah, no, it was personalized. He gave me a call.
That's awesome. So how did you feel?
No, it was great, man. It was great because I at that time when I got the job, I at the like in parallel, I also got the PR like 2 or 3 months back. It
Mm.
was actually in November when I got it.
Hmm.
So yeah, like two things at the same time. It was really good. And also, but there was the question when I got the job offer. I was in Colombia,
Hmm.
stuck with during the COVID-19. So I got the job. Of course, I could work remotely, but
Hmm.
my plan was to come to Vancouver.
Yeah.
So then I started to think a lot what would be the solution. But you always have to come with solutions in IT. So I also worked it out.
Nice, nice, awesome. So that's really exciting. Again, guys, we'll get to all your questions. I'm loving all the questions in the chat in about 10, 15 minutes. So I love those moments. You get the call. Boom, you got it. So now not only do you have the visa, but you also can come to Canada and have a job waiting for you. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that part. You are in Bogota. You need to be or planning to be in Canada, but there's a global pandemic. You can't travel. What did you do? How did you solve this problem?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, first thought was that I needed to start working for this company uh, remotely, but being in Bogota. But of course, that is not like as I was decided to come to Canada. The first thing that I tried was I found out there were a couple of humanitarian flights
Hmm.
going on. Of course, not Canada one, but I saw a couple of ones from United States to Colombia, others from the I don't remember, like from Spain and stuff.
Hmm.
So I could see that there were some humanitarian flights, but nothing related to Canada. So the first thing I did was reach out to the Canadian embassy.
Hmm.
Um, to ask them if there's something that they are working on to get the Canadians that are stuck in Colombia back to Canada.
Hmm.
And also, at that time, there were a lot of students, Colombian students, stuck here in Canada. That they were young, they were like, I don't know, 15, 16, or 17 years old, and they were here alone, and their parents wanted them back. So also, they started also to push a little bit hard to the Colombian embassy to get them a flight back to Bogota. So both things, the Canadians pushing the Canadian embassy and also the students here
Hmm.
made finally happen this flight, this humanitarian flight.
Interesting.
And that one happened in 28th of April.
Hmm.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, 28th of April. So yeah, I mean, like the day I had to start working was the 4th of May.
Mm.
So I didn't have much time to kind of handle all the situation. And once you get to Canada, you have to be in self isolation for 14 days. So
Camilo,
of
hold on.
course,
Just pausing on this point. So basically, there was a group of students in Canada, and they got into a flight. They flew down to Colombia. They got out of the airplane, and then all the Canadians and permanent resident holders got into the flight and then flew to Canada. That's what happened.
yeah, but I mean that was happened, but there was a lot of media involved because they really had to go to multiple TV news and kind of
Wow.
really fight to get it because, of course, the embassies were working on it, but it
Yeah.
wasn't something that it was going to happen really fast.
Yeah.
But because of the media, we kind of pushed that to happen even faster.
Cool.
So
Cool.
That's exactly how it happened. But
Awesome.
of course, there's a lot of things involved in it. How you go to the airport and all these crazy safety instruction, having
Yeah.
the mask all the time and washing your hands in each of the gates. Actually, the airport in Colombia was totally different. In Bogota, it was totally different because they actually made a path that you have to walk through
Hmm.
until you kind of reach to the gate when you're
Hmm.
going to get onto the flight. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was really strange.
That's cool, man. That's I can imagine. I also flew from not in April. I flew in March from Colombia to Canada, and there was a lot of putting hands and everything. Guys, I just put the link in the chat about Camilo's relocation, so you can see some of the pictures of him and his family, his daughter with the masks and everything, flying to Canada, just to get an idea, like with your whole family. You're getting on this plane. I'm just so excited about this. I think it's such a cool experience. I mean, looking back, you can kind of tell your kids, or I guess your daughter already knows, but
Yeah, actually, the day I kind of was finally happy was after the 14th day
yeah,
and the quarantine ended, because you were sure that you didn't get the COVID. So
right.
we were worried about it
Oh, I
because
can
we were,
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it was crazy.
So you get to Canada, okay, but you can't leave. I think people don't know that. So like you can't leave your house for 14 days. How did you get food? How did you like entertain your daughter so she didn't go crazy? How did you deal with this situation?
Yeah, sure. No, yeah, as you said, I get to a place that I don't know because I didn't know about. I have never come to Vancouver, so I got here and I was stuck in my apartment. I got an Airbnb to be here for 14 days. And yeah, how I got my food. My sister, which is studying here English, she's not a permanent resident. Uh, and her boyfriend, they helped me out bringing the groceries to my
Mm-hmm.
home
Mm-hmm.
time to time. But of course, they cannot come inside my apartment because of the I mean, we can let them in because, of course, they can get the virus. So they just left the food outside the door and stuff. Of course, you wanted to kind of hug them because I haven't seen my sister for a while.
Mm.
So it was really strange, but yeah, I handled that. And of course, also you can request any food or anything that you need from apps. So there are a lot of apps here, Skip the Dishes or Uber Eats or anything that they also have the measures to get your food without kind
Yeah.
of having contact. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, how that was the way I start. And actually, even Ilya wanted to bring me some food. Yeah.
Yeah, you were the first van hacker to relocate. This is pretty exciting during the COVID pandemic. I think we live close by. I live in Vancouver too. So I was just telling Camilo before the webinar that we'll have to meet in person one day. Maybe we'll have a social distancing meetup with VanHack meetup.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's
maybe the
cool.
end of the year, like a Christmas party or something.
For sure.
Wait until everything's a little bit more quiet. So you during those 2 weeks where you were, or even now, like how did it feel when you were able to go out? Like now you got after 2 weeks are done, you don't have COVID, thank God. You're exploring this new city. How's it been like living in this? Are you enjoying it? How's everything?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it was amazing because in Colombia we were also being like stuck at home. So here after the 14 days, when I went out, of course, it was beautiful to get to know the city. Here, fortunately, the COVID-19 is not like hitting as harsh as in Colombia. So the COVID cases here are really low. Not that we are like just going out and enjoying. Of course, there are still measures, social distancing, and more things. So, but it's a little bit it's easier to go out and to kind of get to different parks and places or to the beach as
Mm,
well. But you have, of course, to be just with your family they also tell us about all these measures and all these safety instructions.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, it was amazing to go out for the first time and to get to know the city, which is a really beautiful city, and it's full of nature. So it was the best part of the trip, actually, when you that first day that you finally could go out and get to look at the city and to get to know where are you going to live for the next couple, I don't know how many years, but I hope many. So yeah, it was really really good, man.
That's
Really good
awesome.
feeling.
That's awesome. What I'm just curious for me, like which parks did you go? Did you go to Stanley Park yet, or where did you go?
Yeah, I've been actually to a lot of places by now. Of course, Stanley Park was one of the first ones,
Mm.
but of course, I had to go to the Science World.
Hmm.
Is that called Science World? Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
Science World, and also I also, because I just landed. We have a couple of months that we can drive with our home country
Mm-hmm.
driving license. So, and guys, it's really easy to rent a car. So I also had already a chance to get away. So I went to hot springs, called Harrison Hot Springs as well, which is kind
Nice.
of 2 hours of Vancouver, and everything is really beautiful, to be honest. I mean, like, you cannot stop seeing such a good like landscapes and sunsets. Vancouver is beautiful. I had the chance to be in Toronto once for a couple of weeks, not many, but yeah, I like here. I like here more, Vancouver.
Yeah, I agree. I also love Toronto, but Vancouver is my where I grew up, and it's a beautiful place. I mean, there's many beautiful places around Canada, Europe.
Yeah,
So you just gotta find the one that's right for you.
it's
Um,
true. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And sorry, this has been funny. Is there? Yeah, I have one glass, one coffee, and one water. So I have multiple here. It's 8 in the morning here for us. So
Yeah, you take a sip of it too fast of that.
yeah, yeah. It's my morning routine. Um, cool. So Camilo, like, what about work? How is your day to day in your job? What are you working on? Are you enjoying your remote work? You haven't even met your colleagues in person. Like, how is that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just have met my boss.
Mm,
I had to go to the office just twice
mm,
because I had to get my laptop, and also we had to kind of talk about different decisions that we have to make about the project that I'm on.
mm-hmm,
But yeah, I mean, it has been work. I've been working remotely, as you mentioned. Of course, when you start a new job, there are a lot of challenges that you have to learn the business of the new company, and you have to kind of stick to how they do things and
mm-hmm,
understand the way they're doing things, and then you can kind of propose new things. But at the beginning, you really need to understand how they're doing things. So I've been working on that for the last couple of months.
mm-hmm,
Actually, I'm going to be working. I've been working for a month and 3 weeks. It's not been that long.
mm-hmm,
So it's been really a bit hectic, but yeah, I mean, like, I have to work uh, from 8:30 to 5:30, and yeah, working with my colleagues. A couple of colleagues I have are from Montreal, and a couple of more are from United States, and if some of them also are in Colombia, because this company that I'm working on really loves hiring people from all over the world. So they're really open-minded about this, which is cool, because not most of the companies are open-minded, but now they're moving towards that fashion, that way of doing things. Yeah, they're not that complicated.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I,
so
I think that's the good thing that'll come out of COVID is because of everyone working remotely or being forced to work remotely for 3, 4 months, they'll realize that, hey, if working remotely with
it
someone
works. Yeah.
works, and therefore I can work remotely with someone who's outside of my country or outside my continent or in the other part of the world. So that's cool. So
Exactly.
Camilo, like, what like has it been any challenges? Like, what's been maybe the most difficult thing from this whole process that maybe your family or understanding how to do the work? Like, what's something that maybe you were surprised that it was difficult, just for people to understand like the reality. You know, it's not all roses.
Yeah, I mean, it's been difficult, but not because it is actually difficult, but because of the COVID-19. But the
Mm.
hardest part had been to kind of make my daughter get to school, and
Mm.
also kind of get our insurance cards and do like normal things that you do once you get to a place, to a
Yeah.
country,
Yeah.
because everything is closed,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
which is totally understandable. But it's been hard because everything has been online in terms of getting all these government things.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if I want my driving license, but the one here from Canada, I cannot because there are not like test drives. Face to face right
Mm-hmm.
now. We
Mm-hmm.
cannot do that. So a few things have been hard. Also for my daughter, she couldn't start studying in class. She's taking online lessons by
Wow.
now,
Wow.
and hopefully after the summer vacations, she will be able to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
So of course that's been a little bit like kind of harsh, but
Yeah.
as I said, it's not like everybody else is going to face that. Hopefully, because this pandemic thing, I hopefully will vanish soon. So what we expect when we get to the country is that everybody is going to help you. Actually, there are newcomers and relocation facilitators here that help a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but they've been helping me online, and they're really sad that we cannot meet in person as well, because that's what they normally do. They really walk you through the newcomers, each of the aspects about housing, about renting, about schooling, everything. But they haven't been able to help that much as they would have done it before. So that's been the hard part by now. But at least I worked it out somehow, and now my daughter is studying online, and she's doing great so
Mm.
far.
How old is she?
She's 13 years old.
Okay, wow, wow. So it's like a really important age for school. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
she's just turned to secondary,
yeah.
I
High
believe,
school.
high school to high school. Yeah,
Cool, cool.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. That I'm sure she'll be, okay in September. Enjoy the summer now. So anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Again,
yeah.
congratulations. We only have about 10 minutes left here, so I just want to make sure that everyone can ask you questions before you got to get to work. So
Sure.
yeah, guys, I'm seeing a lot of really good questions here. Jorge says some regards from Chile. I don't think that was a question, but it was just he just said something nice. Glad for you, Camilo. I'm not sure if you can see that, Camilo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, in the chat. Stefan asks, please, does it mean if you don't take a coding test, it's not possible? The coding test is not mandatory. It's nice to have. I would definitely use it. I think it will help you stand out. So yeah.
Yeah. As you said, it's not like mandatory, but of course, if they get to know that you already passed the test, it means that. So how you prove that you have that skill? Yeah. Rather than just putting on the curriculum that you know it, you're actually proving that you know it. So it's not mandatory, but it really helps. I believe. I mean, if you know about it, you will manage to pass it. It's not something that hard to get. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So what else is here?
The Surab asked about coding tests and CRS. Those are two separate things. Coding test is on VanHack, and the CRS is something from the government of Canada. One day maybe we'll have a coding test that if you pass this coding test, you get a Canadian visa. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know which other questions. Let me see.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. If you want, we can just keep, chatting, and then I can answer the questions more afterwards.
Oh, sure. But yeah, I would just wanted to see
Yeah,
some
no,
of
go
that
ahead.
I can answer.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um,
Maybe about the interview stages. Seun is asking, what were the interview stages before your offer came? How many stages did you have? You mentioned it was 3, right?
Oh yeah. They were three. The first one was with HR, which I believe it's normally that's the way. First, you have an interview with HR because I had two opportunities. One of them, I got to the second stage, let's call it, because the first one was an interview with HR and also an interview with who would be my boss, my manager. And the second one was a test that they sent me about coding and also about DevOps. So in parallel, I was also applying to the job that I actually got.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to the second stage in that first job offer, and the second one was three. There were three stages, but as I said, actually the last stage, which was an interview with both my like the department manager, let's call
Mm-hmm.
it, like the boss of my boss, and also from an architect, an IT architect. They both joined the meeting and they started asking me really hard questions about Kubernetes, about Vault, about Terraform, and about anything that has to do with DevOps.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really technical. I believe that last one was really technical, but of course, if you don't know the answer to any of the questions that you're doing, in my case, of course, they give you some hints, let's call it, so you can easily solve the question that they're doing. It's not like they're doing something that um, you don't have to be a Bible and knowing all the technical concepts, but rather being like being able to solve a problem that they give you, like, oh well, how would you work if how would you do if you have a database in the cloud that needs to be highly available. So that's the first question, for example. And then, okay, if it's already highly available, how do you make sure that that's in different regions, so that if there's a catastrophe or a disaster, your database is still working because the first region went off or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of start building up from there and asking questions on top of that. So
Nice.
it's not like just isolated strange questions. They kind of give you a pathway, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
to go through. So yeah, that's good.
Nice. Great answer, Camilo. Thank you. And good question for whoever asked that one. I think Seven. Cool.
Yeah. So let me see what else. Yeah, did you see any interesting question there?
Um, yeah, Hiba, better not fill on desktop. It's better to the profile. Work with Tableau. Okay, people are asking like specific questions, things in demand. Hugo asked, got your PR and IELTS and job offer. I have read that a provincial nominee is a good boost to get a PR. I can answer that quickly. It is basically if you get nominated by the province, you get the PR. But again, it's not necessary to get the PR in order to get a job. I think with Camilo's case, what happened is he got the PR and got the job, and that's why he was able to relocate. If he didn't have his PR, he probably could keep working remotely from Bogota. But because he had
Yeah,
PR, now he's here in Canada.
exactly. Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I know there are a lot of questions, but like before I leave, I have to leave in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But like a final advice, I would say that once you get done your profile, you can start applying to the jobs that you will find there. But of course, what I believe is the most important thing here is every each of us have we've been we started working either on the development side or the infrastructure side. Most of us have started from being developers.
Mm.
So I've seen they also like that even though you're applying, for example, for a DevOps position or different things, if you kind of also highlight the things that are not being asked but you have them, you can highlight them really like quickly at the end of the interview, once you of course walked through the skills that they are actually asking,
Hmm.
because they can find that there's something that you also know that may be beneficial to them. So in my case, I did that as well. And I also talked to them that I not only have the DevOps experience, but also I worked with other clouds that they don't use, like for example, OpenStack or IBM Cloud, in other Kubernetes clusters that I also had, not just the AKS or the EKS, but I also work with OpenShift and other ones. So when they kind of see that you're a little bit like the extra mile and you know more things, not the ones that they are asking.
Hmm.
Of course, at the end of the interview, that would be helpful as well. Because in my case, I found that one thing that I mentioned to them at the end was something that they really get caught on. And it was, for example, there's a technology called Istio within Kubernetes that helps for a lot of things. Like one of the things is when you're going to put a new solution to production, you can do either canary releases or blue green releases, so that you don't actually put the whole new application to work right away, but you kind of balance the traffic to one of the other, and you put, I don't know, 10% or 5% in one of them.
Hmm.
But that technology is not that it is that brand new. It's been a while in the market, but it's something that not everybody is kind of using it. So I mentioned that I have some experience with Istio. So even though it's not in the job offer, or they didn't mention about it, once they hear about it, they say, oh, we are actually needing that.
Hmm.
Oh, that's cool. So what I mean is, if you at the end can highlight other skills that you have, they may find one that they didn't put right down, but they may find it interesting. So that
Hmm.
would be good as well in the interview,
Nice.
during the interview. Yeah.
It's a great tip. It's a great tip. Well, Camilo, I know we're out of time here. Thank you so much again for sharing your experience. Guys, I'll stick around here. The webinar's not over. We'll have another 10, 15 minutes here. I'll answer your questions. I just want to say thank you again to Camilo. Enjoy your day. Really looking forward to meeting you in person, in real life.
Yeah.
All the best. And welcome again to Canada, to Vancouver. If you need anything in the city, just shoot me a message.
Okay, thanks, Ilya. It was it's very fun these interviews. So yeah, let's meet around later. And yeah, it was really enjoyable. So I'll jump off. Okay, bye bye.
All right, man. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thanks.
All right, guys.